Hello, I'm Miranda, and welcome to my after-battle interview. This is the discussion for my Khador vs. Circle 50-point battle. Now, if you haven't seen this game yet, you can click on the link over here to watch the video. After the game, Ben and I sat down for a few minutes to discuss the battle in a little more detail. Enjoy! Hello, I'm Miranda, and we have here Ben from the channel Should Have Turned Left. We just finished an epic 50-point Mark III game of Circle Ouroboros versus Khador. What did you bring, Ben?
So I brought, building on the Circle battle box, so that's Tanith, a Wild Argus, Gorax Rager, Pureblood Warpwolf. I added Gedrix to the battle group and a Druid Wilder. I have a full Reeves of Ouroboros, a unit of Sentry Stones, and a Gallows Grove.
Oh no, I guess I have to remember what was in my list. So I was building on the Kozlov, that's how we remember it, that battle box, which comes with a Decimator and a Juggernaut, and building on that I brought Malakov, the Journeyman Warcaster, with a Devastator, unit of Shock Troopers, Manowar Shock Troopers, with the Manowar Kovnik, and what did I have? I got some Battle Mechanics, Widowmakers, I think that was it.
Yeah,
so,
sounds about right.
We went in, and this was all designed to build on the battle box. You know.
Oh, and I took the fuel cache objective.
Yeah, right, and I had the bunker objective, which meant nothing this whole game.
No.
Like,
Mine did.
You
Mine
were
mattered a
popping
lot.
clouds a lot. Fuel cache got interesting, I
Yes.
think. So as far as the game goes, though, it ended up getting really frustrating toward the end, because as Khador, we're used to hitting really hard. I wasn't hitting anything very hard. I wasn't killing anything dead the way things should have done. Like, I've never really had a Decimator before, and honestly, I'm pretty disappointed with that one's performance. I think I need to trade him in to get a different model. I don't know, it just was all bad.
Or not play against Affliction.
Affliction! Let's talk a little bit about Affliction.
That was stupid.
That spell is absurd.
Oh
so
my
if you don't do
gosh.
any damage, you can do one, and you put it on a unit that can shoot 20 shots. Yeah,
Yeah, don't forget the -2 defense part
and
of it.
-2 defense on whoever you target. So my poor Devastator ignorantly runs up the board like, oh, I'm gonna go after these Reeves. They're not that expensive a unit. How good can they be? Never make
Turns
that.
out really good with Tanith.
Reeves of Ouroboros are insane. Rate of Fire 2. Oh my god, the same cost as Manowar. Meanwhile, they're like choking to try and get through the woods. They couldn't get anywhere.
It was like, we're dice -15? I'll still shoot you 18 times.
I'll just, yeah, and that -2 defense on a Khador Jack, you didn't miss once, I don't think.
No, when I need Snake Eyes to miss.
Yeah. So Affliction is amazing, and what's the other one? Oh yeah, Scything Touch. Let's just completely nullify my feat, and then just continue to be able to really hurt my poor Khadoran Jacks. So it was a game of, in basketball when you have the ball and somebody like stuffs it from you. that was how it was to play against Circle today. So I was like, well, I'm gonna do this. Oh, you took that away. I guess I won't. So,
I didn't take away your Widowmakers until late.
That's true. They failed all on their own. They couldn't hit like 5s or something. It was bad. Which, whatever. Widowmakers typically are either really good or really bad until they break from psychology rules, which you no longer at least have to worry about. So now all they have left is just rolling poorly, and they held up in that.
Also useful for my Swamp Gobbers. I think I forgot I mentioned I brought those too.
Swamp Gobbers, they stayed defense 15. Insane. Yep. So
they lost camouflage, so they're not def 19 in the cloud anymore.
Which is worth pointing out for my list, because typically Khador, even with the Jacks getting a buff across the board to mat 7, which was really helpful, needing 7s to hit is almost, it's like 58% chance.
Yeah, something like that.
It's never gonna feel like you're hitting enough. And so for me, I was having to boost a lot, so I couldn't really do as much damage as I wanted, just because I needed to make sure I could hit it all.
I mean, sustained attack helps, but because of sustained attack, you do get tempted more to just boost for that first hit, so you don't have to worry about the other ones.
No, sustained attack is absolutely worth it, because otherwise you're buying an attack and then boosting. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it always felt like the dice were gonna just like leave you in the dust if you didn't boost. And yeah, it was a risk. And if Fury had been up earlier, it would have also made a difference.
Yes.
It's just this list didn't really do well against defense 14 stuff, because I don't really have a way of knocking defense down. I don't have Affliction, which was, again, amazing. Oh my goodness, that spell is ridiculous. Yeah, and Shadowbind, which is on Tanith's gun and crit melee, right?
Flat on her gun, crit on melee.
Yeah, so...
and then, turns out Admonition is really good against a melee army.
Admonition. I couldn't... So typically the way you fight Admonition, you have to be able to knock the model down, or you have to be able to just fire a lot of shots into it. I didn't really have that option. Man of War, even if they were able to shoot, are range 6, so they would have been close enough to trigger it. And then my jacks, like the Dozer blade, or the Dozer cannon, I think, could have done some damage, but again, hitting a defense 14 beast at Rat 4 is just, it's not very reasonable. So I didn't really have a way of shoring up the defense on that. So for me, I really needed to have something like a Grolar to knock down defense, or maybe some sort of infantry to swarm a little better, because if you can block where you throw Admonition, or where the Admonition can go, then you can kind of box them in, which I did a little bit. I sacrificed my mechanics to like box the pure wolf it.
Yeah, the pure blood
in. Yeah. So that worked out pretty well. But even then I couldn't kill him. I was like, you're Khador, hit harder. So anyway.
Straight dice. But the dude has 20-something boxes and you have 3 attacks.
He got really tough. So as far as like ideas on building on the box, like the circle one's really strong. I think Tanith brings a lot of boosting to her army.
She has such a huge toolbox. It's gonna take a while to master her.
Oh, you think so?
She has so much she can do.
Fair enough. She seems really solid. I mean, she can, like, even if she gets into melee, she can shadow bind you. She's got tons of spells.
Hit fixers, armor fixers.
Her
the only thing she doesn't really do is a speed buff.
Which, you're pretty fast in circle, and I mean, I guess you didn't have shifting stones in this army, but...
Didn't miss them either.
Yeah? You were still able to move around a fair amount. And I guess maybe the scenario can come into play with that, just because, depending on where you need to get to, your opponent's going to have to get there too, so you're just going to be fighting over, in this case, 2 points, really, with different flags. You also said this was the first time you brought, what was it, the mannequins?
This is the first time in Mark III I've bought the Sentry Stone and mannequins, and I am impressed.
Yeah?
That...
Worth your time?
Yes! So, okay, pre-measuring, going, okay, what can I hit with the Spray 8 template?
That can aim.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's where I can get the Spray 8, that's where I want the mannequin, can I get the mannequin there? Yes, I'm going to put him there, I'm going to aim, and I'm going to boost on the stuff I want to boost.
Yeah.
First turn, I'm like, please kill at least one mannequin. Please kill one. Please.
Just get them out of the way.
Just
well,
do
and
one.
They're dangerous if you don't, because they've got 2 base attacks, and they're nat 5. It's not crazy, but, I mean...
Again, with Affliction, hey!
Well, with Affliction and with Transference, or whatever that ability is from the...
I don't know what it's called.
Sentry Stone, you can just spend the Fury to boost those attacks. It's way better than, like, Alexia's ability, I think, the one she has with the Dead, where she can kind of craft a Thrall, and he can do activation, but she can't do anything with him, so...
If she gets into melee, she can sack all the Thralls and do crazy stuff, but...
Yeah, my list definitely needed defense fixes, because, again, you said you had defense fixes, which you didn't need, but you ended up kind of taking advantage of.
Actually, Affliction was really important with the Reeves.
Oh, yeah?
Because there were 4 or 5 attacks that I think would have missed without that -2 def.
Defense 8 Jack, so sad.
Yeah.
And then, what was the other one? Oh, and then you have an armor debuff. Like, Scything Touch is solid. And then, of course, you're bringing, models that can warp strength and just become stronger anyway, so it ends up being very tough.
One thing I've managed to pull off on somebody once that I was kind of hoping to be able to get a turn on with you is Tanith's Feet with the Wild Argus Animus, which is also stupid, by the way. that can get to ridiculous things. So the Argus can go up, make target defense 5.
Okay.
Then Tanith can go up and pop feet, and so for 1, she puts Affliction on you, guaranteeing a point of damage, and then she can just spend for bleeds, which is guaranteed a point of damage, and when bleed does a point of damage, she gets to heal D3.
Oh, wow.
So it's just, all right, plink, 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 and heal right back up and not care. Seems good.
She's not that afraid to get into the fray. And I know Kozlov isn't either, but she stayed way back. You even killed Bucks yourself one time.
Yep.
But,
got a little excited.
Which, he's fine for that, but it's kind of hard the way... You can't do enough, right? Because you're still putting yourself at risk. There's 3 war beasts on the table, and that Wild Argus being able to put me to defense 5 is just... wasn't a risk I was willing to take.
And what, both of our casters were 15-15s?
15-17.
Oh, that's right. Yours is a 15-17. Mine's a 15-15.
Yeah.
So, 15-17, that's decent, but that's still right in the range of, you could die.
Well, and even with Mat 7 on him, he couldn't really go and fight War Beast very confidently because, again,
not a Def 14 one. Yeah.
So
if he hits them, he'll kill them quickly, but that's the thing. If he hits them.
Well, and your 6 focus, you're running your boosting, and it goes through it really fast. And you kind of kept me starved for focus throughout that game because I kept needing to buy a boost on the attack roll. And even with the Decimator having sustained attack, you're still, wanting to boost just to make sure you hit it all so that the other 2 focus, at least are hitting. At least that's how it is for me. And, maybe you'll get lucky, but if you don't, that's more focus gone. And so the Jacks were just hogging focus, even with power up, and then putting buffs like Fury on or keeping Chosen Ground up, which I kind of had to because I was just surrounded by forests. Mm-hmm. And then Tax Supremacy was somewhat useful, but it didn't really...
One more in Tanith's toolbox.
Oh.
Rift. So rough terrain for your opponent.
Which...
Slow them down. Why not?
What's the cost of that one?
It costs 3.
Oh, okay. I think that cost might have gone down. I don't know.
No, it's the same.
Is it the same?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Range 8, AoE 4.
So, anyway, so that's what all happened in that game.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a very strong scenario play, but then you ended up getting the kill on Kozlov at the end because he just...
Tanith couldn't kill a Man-O-War and...
Yeah, the Man-O-War stayed alive.
Yeah, and when Gedrix can warp caster kill, it's also kind of useful.
Yeah, that's a good thing to be able to warp.
Affliction. After the second one, I'm like, oh, right, I don't actually need this.
Yeah. So, Circle Box, strong. This is a really good way to build onto it. Mm-hmm. For Kozlov, he really kind of needs something to shore up being able to hit high defense, because currently it's not really in his toolbox. But he does have great way of treading, so you'll want to probably make that up in Jacks, I would think. But.
Yes. And his feat does make sense for higher armor stuff as well. Mm-hmm. Unyielding, once you get Man-O-Wars in there, that is, especially if they're under shield wall, that can just
if
get
they
to
can get the benefit of
levels.
shield wall, yeah. They kind of have to, though. You've really got to stack it to make it useful, because there's still only 8 boxes, and you did trivialize them pretty much.
Well, the turn you ran them, I'm going, okay, this is my best opportunity, must kill now.
Well, and exactly, so I'm like, okay, well, I kind of need to protect my Warjacks, otherwise, like, the Man-O-War are not going to be able to kill, like, the Warp Wolf stock, whatever it was.
Pureblood.
The Pureblood.
Or Gedrix.
Or Gedrix, that's it. Gedrix is a type of Warp Wolf, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So, anyway, he's just the character one. So anyway, that's kind of, any final thoughts on the game, you think? What you
don't
like
kill box
done?
yourself. Doesn't help.
What do you think of the scenario? It's kind of a new one.
Yeah, I do like this scenario.
It's cool. I'm glad it's making better use of the objectives.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I think about the dominate for one. It feels like it actually tones down the scenario viability a bit.
Like it kind of wants you to stay back almost as a caster?
Yeah, you don't have as much desire to come forward with your Warcaster or Warlock, and with only dominate for one, it actually slows the scenario down. Mm-hmm. That being said, if you could dominate for 2, then yeah, I could see you can get 4 points in one turn, which kind of sucks. But
yeah,
I don't know. Overall, I think it's live enough to matter.
It keeps you moving, keeps you dealing with it. So yeah, so a fun game overall. Yeah, I think that's kind of all we've got for that. And we will we'll see you next time. Let us know what you thought of that game. Definitely comment in the comments area. So we'll see you next time.